Welcome to another CEO interview. I'm joined today by John Adams, who's the CEO and founder of A Foreign Affair. So, John Adams, welcome to the interview.
Well, thank you for having me, Mark. Appreciate it.
So, John, first of all, I'd like to find out, what's your founding story? What's the founding story of A Foreign Affair?
Well, Foreign Affairs started back about 1995, and there was basically three of us that started it, myself, Ken, AG, and Ron Redburn. And the premise was that back then, there were newspapers had the personal ads, women seeking men, men seeking women, but you never really knew what the people looked like. You never knew who was really seeking who as far as photos, and we thought it'd be great to put photos out there so people could actually see a picture before they went. Now, that sounds crazy now because everybody's so used to it, but back then, it just wasn't that easy. And there was the predecessor of the internet, which was the Bbs system. And so we had started it with the Bbs system thinking, okay, we'll do it locally here in Phoenix and we'll put profiles up with, people's pictures. And then we discovered the internet, the World Wide Web. And we thought, wow, we could do this on a global basis instead of just here in Phoenix. So we packed Ken up, sent him over to Russia, placed some ads, and see if there was going to be any kind of interest from the women there to meet us crazy Americans. And he came back as happy as could be, as a single man would be, being in Russia there for a month or so, and was very, very pleased with the reception that he got there. And so we really started pushing from there to change it all over to the international side of it. And it just kind of took off from there. That was kind of the beginning of it. And then we just started in St. Petersburg, Russia, grew into the Ukraine, and then into Colombia, and then all over.
So this seems like a very different industry from the internet dating industry. How would you define it? What industry is this?
Well, I think I would call it the international introduction industry. It is different than your domestic dating industry in the sense that for the people to be successful, they're going to have to travel outside of the country. And that's a big step for a lot of people. And I think that, more than anything else, differentiates it because you're going, it's one thing to go from California to New York, maybe. That's a big step as well. But when you start going outside your country's boundaries, I think people start looking at it a little bit differently. Like, what's really going on here? They're going outside the United States. And I think there's a lot of ignorance in that. And I think that once you really start looking at the men and the women who use this, a lot of that ignorance melts away, and you understand that these are just normal people trying to find that special someone.
And what countries are you in?
We are in, let's see, we're in Russia, we're in the Ukraine, we're in Peru, we're in Costa Rica, we're in Colombia, we're in China, we're in Dominican Republic, I'm probably missing maybe a country or two, I hope not, but yeah, we're in several countries.
It really seems like the opposite of internet dating, because most internet daters don't want to travel more than 20 miles, and here you are, and your shortest distance is probably 2,000 miles.
That's a really good point, and it's a very salient point, I think, because there is a major difference in that. And I think, if you look at some of the studies that have been done, they show that these relationships tend to last longer than domestic relationships. And I think one of the reasons for that is the fact that it does take more effort. It does take more commitment to make something like this work. And I think that both the men and the women that are involved in this understand that and are willing to go through that to find the right person. Instead, I don't want to say just settling for the girl next door, but instead of just staying here and kind of taking the easier way, they're really searching the world over, not just next door for that special someone. And when they do find that person, hopefully it does last longer.
Well, my wife will be very pleased to hear that. I married a Czech.
Well, there you go, you see.
From America. So how's your, you've got a National Geographic promotion happening. How's that work and how's it going?
Well, we're really excited about the National Geographic piece that ran, and it's a wonderful idea, I think. Look, we've always been open to the media. We have nothing to hide. I think it's wonderful that we've allowed such entities as Nightline or Oprah Winfrey Network or WeTV and on and on and on. So National Geographic is just another in this step, that progression of opening access and trying to illuminate this industry the best we can, and by allowing a respected company like National Geographic to go on our tours, I think really does that. And I thought they did a wonderful job on the piece. I was there, and I'll tell you, nothing was scripted. Everything was as you see it. I mean, it just happens, and that was really neat. That's what I really wanted. It's okay, yeah, go ahead and do this, but it has to be reality, because there's so many reality shows out there that are not really reality. Okay, you can tell, but they had 3 separate crews. They were following the different guys when they're going out on the different dates. They were filming the dates. They were filming the socials. They were filming the reactions after the dates, and some were good and some were bad. There was some that felt that they got taken advantage of on a date. There were some that were as happy as could be after a date. And that's going to happen when you go on these tours. It's not all fairy dust and bluebirds singing around your head. That's not what this is about. It's about going over there, having options. I think you're going to have wonderful options when you go over, but you still have to make something happen. And I think this shows that you still have the dating challenges. You still have all that. So it was really fun. We're really excited about it. Always looking for those opportunities.
What do you think this industry is going to look like in 5 years' time? What's your vision of the future for a foreign affair, and what do you think the industry is going to look like in general?
Well, just from what I've seen going, 15 and almost 20 years ago to now, and I see changes, and going forward, I think that this is going to become more mainstream. I think that, look, our world is becoming so much smaller every day. With just the interview we're doing right now, on Skype, we can communicate so much easier. It's instant and it's transparent. And so I think that with everything that's happening here, I think you're going to see that companies are going to have to provide more assistance, more counseling, because you can meet now pretty easily on lots of different formats. And there's lots of different ways you can go about doing it. But I think in order to be successful going forward, you're going to have to provide more customer service to both the men and the women, more functionality to both the men and the women, not just introducing them, but helping them through the whole dating process and helping them to be successful ultimately in marrying. So if that's what your goal is, then you're going to have to do more and more, I think, to help those people.
So we seem to have these 2 distinct industries, really. We've got the international introductions industry. I sometimes refer to it now also as premium international dating, with my work with Anastasia Day. So how do you think the iDating industry can work with this industry? There must be a way for the 2 to work together.
I think there is, and and we've talked to some of the local matchmaking companies here, some of the more traditional ones, and we're still in talks with some, but in partnering to allow them through us to offer more options to their clients. It's just to create more of a larger network. And so we're working towards that too. And I think you're going to see more of a merge like that. And that's why I'm saying that I think in order to be successful, the premium international services are going to have to start offering, I think, more services and more functionality to their clients.
Gotcha. John Adams, you're the CEO of A Foreign Affair. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it.